Hi, we're here with Aaron Krause. He is CEO of Scrub Daddy, which is a company that's been on Shark Tank, makes those fun little sponges with the smiley faces on them, and now has a big retail footprint. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, how you doing? It's great to be here. We're all smiles.
Exactly. So I guess walk me through a little bit of the history of the company and how you're going about scaling the business.
Well, it's interesting. The company is actually an offshoot of a previous business that I had started manufacturing buffing pads for cars and boats and planes. And in that business, I actually gained a 18-year experience, not just manufacturing, but understanding polyester urethane foams because we were making all of our buffing pads out of those foams. And I ended up developing this material for mechanics to clean their hands with, mechanics and body shops. And the material was actually incredible. And we tried to sell it as a hand scrubber, and it actually failed in that realm, that world. It wasn't until years later that I rediscovered it as a dishwashing tool, and that led me to rebrand it and repackage it, and eventually it got me onto QVC, where I started doing live shows. And then when I started having some success with live television, one day I'm watching Shark Tank, and I said, "Oh my God, this is a natural. This is going to be a joke. I'm going to go in there and kill the sharks." And so I ended up applying for Shark Tank, and next thing you know, here we are, the third largest sponge company in the U.S. We have almost 50% brand awareness, and we're expanding all over the world.
Nice. So what are the challenges, you started out on QVC, I guess, what were some of the challenges with manufacturing and technology then, and then how has it accelerated into the future?
Well, at the time that we first started, we weren't actually manufacturing this ourselves, number one. We were subcontracting almost all the work. And as the QVC shows started to ramp up, we were actually at someone else's whim. And that was a real big problem for us. The other side of it is that I really didn't know the retail landscape. So I was actually learning as I was going. I had been in the automotive aftermarket business for 20 years, and this was a whole new realm, trying to sell through Walmart and Target, and just understanding what it takes to be on a platform that works with some of the largest companies in the world and integrating with their systems. When you start doing business with Walmart and Target and Kroger and Bed Bath, everything is electronic. It's all EDI, and and you have to learn this. All of their portals are all automated. So the purchase orders are coming in, the invoices are coming in, and they literally need to be fully automated. You can't get in a piece of paper like the old days and fill it out and send back someone, a fax or even an email. It's 100% automated. And that really was not just a learning curve, but it was incredible challenge because every one of the portals are different. And Walmart is a completely different animal than Target, than Kroger. And you almost have to have a staff of experts at your beck and call who can learn those systems and work with them. And it became so cumbersome with our old ERP solution that we ended up having to upgrade. And that led us, to, I guess, the conversation we're having right now and why I ended up going with SAP.
So with the move to SAP, was it more a case of just moving up to be a bigger company? Was it a case of international exposure and experience? I guess what was the selling points there?
So actually, when I look at it very holistically. If I'm going to move to a system like SAP, that's not a small jump. We could have made a half step and said, okay, well, we're a small business now. We expect to be, a small to mid-sized business in 5 years, and then we'll redo this whole thing all over again and switch to another ERP if we become a mid-sized to large business. So I had actually firmly believed in the direction that the company was going, and that we were very quickly going to be a mid-sized company. So I felt like the first thing is we need to look at a solution that takes us out 10 plus years. So that was number one. Number two was I had actually met the president of SAP with Jen Morgan at a conference. I won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and I was invited to come out and was part of the award ceremony for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year out in Palm Springs, California. And I met Jen out there, and having a discussion with her, I was already looking at 4 different ERP solutions, and finding out that they were local, that she was going to give me additional support. That pushed me also towards SAP. And the final thing that really sealed it for me was in 2008, I sold my last company to basically a Fortune 50 company, 3M. And I went through a very long due diligence process and also an integration process with them. And I realized that I really needed a solution that would seamlessly integrate with a company like 3M. And 3M was running on SAP. And so that gave me a little push also, because I still have a good dream that one day 3M's coming back and take another bite at the apple on this one. And I would like to make it as seamless a integration and acquisition as possible. And it's a lot easier to press a button and transfer all your data from SAP into SAP than trying to download it all into spreadsheets and then try and upload it into someone else's system.
So it's just a case of it's almost like the technical system you choose almost has to be fluent in big companies almost.
I wanted the system to be fluent. I wanted it to take us out 10 years. And I wanted it to be something that I could integrate into very large companies, thinking down the line that there's a possibility that we're going to be acquired. And I really want a system that can integrate with some of the companies that I see as potential suitors.
Okay. What about some of the other technologies you use? I mean, when you evaluate other vendors for other things, are you always looking out 10 years? Or I guess, how do you go about evaluating tech vendors and what matters?
So I look at, when we talk about tech, I mean, for a lot of the stuff we look at is automation in machinery. And so obviously we're looking for, a return on that type of equipment within, I would like to get 18 months is like the maximum that I'll go out. So we're looking for automation that's very relevant to the current status of our business, and something that I can look and say, well, in 7 or 8 years, are we still going to be using this kind of equipment? Is it something that is going to require all new motherboards, or is it like we're looking for stuff now like it's cloud-based? Like that's one of the big things. We're like, okay, we don't want to be upgrading and downloading all kinds of, we want this stuff to seamlessly upgrade all on its own. And then we just put in as many security features as we can to protect ourselves while being on the cloud. But when I'm looking at equipment, the same thing. Is this something that plugs into the Ethernet and has Wi-Fi in it, and I can connect to the engineers and they can actually diagnose the equipment off-site? That's the kind of evaluations that I'm doing when we're looking at high-tech equipment.
Yeah, because you don't want to mess with upgrades and build out your IT department per se, right?
No. I mean, very few people are doing that these days. It's a real drain on a company to have full-time IT people constantly going computer to computer trying to upgrade, and when everything should just be cloud-based and automatically be upgrading.
How many cloud vendors do you have now?
Let's see. We probably have at least 5 or 6,
Okay.
including so SAP. We're on Office 365, so all of our Outlook and all of our Excel and everything that's in the Microsoft suite is all cloud-based now. All of our emails are cloud-based now. All of the solutions that we work with for EDI and integrating with the large retail suppliers like Walmart and Target, that's all cloud-based now.
Okay. What lessons would you have for entrepreneurs when it comes to thinking about technology and then just business overall?
Well, in thinking about technology, I mean, one of the things that I've learned is that it's not really my forte. So when you just need to get all the right information and decide what's most relevant to your business, and then just have a horizon. Say, I'm gonna invest in a technology. Am I gonna get a payback on it within 18 months? Is it something that I'm gonna have to hire a whole office staff to continue to maintain? I mean, for the all the technology stuff that I look at now. I actually have a couple people on staff, and I really trust what they're going to tell me. So I would say hire people who really are good at understanding computers and technology, IP, and IT, and and let them bring you the best information. And then as a CEO, you just got to make a decision in terms of getting your money back, and it being a really good investment, something that's relevant to your business.
And then on the business side, what are some of the tips when you're working with, larger companies when you're a smaller one?
I mean, so this one's interesting. Um, you need to know when to say no. The bigger companies will always try their best to muscle you. And there's been so many times that I'm sitting in these meetings, and I'm being asked to take a margin that is not even profitable. And I've even had companies, the size of a Walmart, basically say it's more important for you to be in our store than it is, for you to make money on it. Just for your, and I just learned to say I'm not interested. Um, we You have to have a healthy margin, or else you have no money to invest in IT. And a system like SAP is really expensive, and maintaining it also can be quite costly. And so I just say no. I just say there's a value to my product, and I believe in what we're offering is a better product for your customers. And so when the big guys come in and they're like, nope, lower margin, and every year they come back and they want better and better margin. And at some point, my pushback is, well, I haven't given you a price increase actually in a couple years, so I'll give you the margin while I increase the price.
All right. Anything I didn't ask that I should have?
I mean, a lot of people like to hear, background of Shark Tank, and how crazy that experience is. Um, so I'll give you a couple fun pointers from the show. So when you're in the tank, it looks like you're in there for 10 minutes. It's more like 2.5 hours. Um,
That's a
so
long pitch.
they edit it down to the absolute best 10 minutes of the show. And then just because you do a deal doesn't mean it's a deal. A real deal is done with the lawyers and in true due diligence. And so it's really good to have a good ERP solution, because when I did the deal with Lori, there was a lot of stuff I had to print out and create, a full due diligence package. And now with SAP, I could just press like 4 buttons and be like, here's all of our sales, here's all our balance sheets, here's all of our payroll. And it would have been a much easier due diligence.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, thanks for your time, and thanks for
My
joining.
pleasure. Thanks so much.